Topic for today is correction. Topic for today is correction of errors. In the board exam for correction of errors, usually magbibigay ng at least 3 or 4 years na may mga errors per year. And then tatanungin tayo, how much is the adjusted net income and how much is the adjusted retained earnings. So usually ganun yung lumalabas in the board exam. That's why very important na alam dapat natin kung paano mag-correct ng mga errors. Okay? So ganito gagawin natin, class. Mag-review muna tayo ng konti about errors and then later tuturuan ko ng techniques kung paano magsagot ng correction of errors in the board exam. Okay? Sige. For example, ang year-end natin is December 31, 2025. Yan, lahat ng errors na madidiscover natin na related sa previous periods. So far, ang tawag natin doon, prior period errors. And we know, kapag kinorek natin yung prior period errors, lahat ng adjustments, i-charge natin to retained earnings. Okay, ang tawag natin dyan, retrospective or retroactive restatement. Alright? Now, para madalian ka sa correction of errors, ang key dito is understanding the nature of the errors. Okay? Ito yung very important. Okay? So listen very carefully. Dalawa lang naman yan. The error can be counterbalancing or non-counterbalancing. Sir, what's the difference between the two? Doon mo tayo sa first one. When you say counterbalancing, from the word itself, balance, okay? Nagbabalance siya or nag-autocorrect in 2 years. Okay? Pag counterbalancing errors, nagbabalance or nag-autocorrect in 2 years. So later, bibigyan ko kayo ng illustration. Okay? So ano ba examples ng mga counterbalancing errors? 4 lang yan. Tandaan nyo to, ha? Number 1, accruals. Number 2, deferrals. Number 3, prepayments. And number 4, all errors related to inventories. Ulitin ko. Ito yung 4 examples sa counterbalancing. Accruals, deferrals, prepayments, and inventories. Right? Now, sir, bakit siya nag-auto-correct in 2 years? So, I'll give you an illustration. For example, kasi yung accruals. Let's say 2025. Yung client natin, nakakalimutan niya mag-record ng mag-accrue at year-end, December 31. Ano ba example ng accruals? For example, salaries. Debit salaries expense, credit salaries payable. Nakalimutan ni client. Okay? Hindi siya nag-accrue noong December 31. Ang dapat entry niya, debit salaries expense, credit salaries payable, for example, 50,000. Okay. Since nakalimutan ni client yan, hindi siya nakapag-record ng expense. It means, yung net income ni client is overstated. Tama? So, overstated yung net income niya in 2025. Now, in 2026, most likely, nung nagbayad na ng salary si client, doon lang siya nag-record ng salaries expense. Okay? So, debit salaries expense, credit, cash, 50,000. Pero, dapat, last year pa niya ni-record yun, noong December 31, 2025. Pero, ni-record lang niya noong 2026. Okay? Since nag-record siya ng expense na dapat hindi, ibig sabihin, class, understated naman yung net income niya in 2026. In 2025, overstated by 50,000 yung net income. In 2026, understated by 50,000. Therefore, ang net effect to retained earnings is 0. Okay? So, kaya nag-auto-correct siya in 2 years. Bakit 2 years? 2025 is year 1, 2026 is year 2. Okay? Same goes for deferrals. Ano ba deferrals? Yun yung mga example yun, yung mga unearned income. Okay? Prepayments, yung mga prepaid expense and inventories. Ano yung inventories? Natutunan natin sa audit of inventory. For example, mali na ni-record yung purchases or nagkamali ng hindi na-include sa physical count, yung mga ganun. Okay? So, ulitin ko. Counterbalancing errors, 4 lang yan. Accruals, deferrals, prepayments, and inventories. Clear? Okay. Next, non-counterbalancing, opposite lang yan. Okay? Ibig sabihin, non-counterbalancing, never siyang nag-auto-correct. Never. Alright? Now, meron 2 instances na non-counterbalancing yung errors. First one is omission of journal entry. Omission of journal entry. And number 2 is incorrect classification. Okay? Incorrect classification. Ayan, yan yung 2 examples natin ng non-counterbalancing. Sir, pwede ka ba magbigay ng illustration? Yes, maglagay tayo ng example. Omission of journal entry, nakalimutan mag-journalize. For example, yung client natin, hindi siya nakapag-depreciate. Okay? So, dapat ang entry niya, debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation. For example, 20,000. Ayan, nakalimutan niya mag-depreciate. Hindi niya nagawa yung entry na yan. Therefore, yung net income ni client is overstated. Tama? Hindi siya nag-expense. Right? Now, yung entry na to, never siyang mag-correct. Okay? Until i-correct ni client. So, hindi siya nag-auto-correct kahit sa second year, third year, and so on and so forth. Right? Next, incorrect classification. For example, nag-incur ng repairs si client. Dapat chinarge niya sa repairs expense. Okay? Pero ang ginawa niya, chinarge niya sa PPE. Okay? Kinapitalize niya. Debit PPE, credit cash. For example, 70,000. So, dapat expense, repairs expense, pero ginawa niyang PPE. So, it means yung net income niya is also overstated. Okay? So, incorrect yung classification niya. Kinapitalize niya to asset. Now, in that case, hindi mag-auto-correct yan. Okay? So, yun yung example natin ng non-counterbalancing. Alright? So, yan. Yun yung mga kailangan mong tandaan about the errors. Let's now go to the techniques. 3 steps lang, class, kung kailangan mong tandaan about correction of errors. Sulat mo muna, i-apply natin yan as we answer our handout. Step number 1, we adjust the net income. Okay, yung step 1, adjust natin yung net income. From unadjusted net income, gagawin nating adjusted net income. Okay? Step number 2, analyze the nature of the errors. Analyze the nature of the errors. Yan yung step 2 natin. So, depende. Pag counterbalancing or non-counterbalancing yung errors. Okay? Kakategorize mo yan. Because, kapag counterbalancing, meron tayong mirror effect. Okay? Mirror effect. Mamaya, papakita ko sa inyo later kung ano ibig sabihin ko ng mirror effect. Okay? Again, step 2, analyze natin yung nature. Counterbalancing ba yan or non-counterbalancing? Pag counterbalancing, mag-mirror effect tayo. Okay? Later, balikan natin. And number 3, we adjust the retained earnings. Adjust retained earnings from unadjusted to adjusted retained earnings. Okay? So, 3 steps for correction of errors. Apply natin yan. Get your handouts. Let's go to problem number 1. Okay, problem number 1. Basahin muna natin yung questions. Question 1. What is the adjusted net income sa 2022? So, question 2 is 2023. Question 3 is 2024. Question 4, 2025. And then, question 5 naman, retained earnings naman yung tinatanong. Okay, so usually again, adjusted net income and adjusted retained earnings, yan yung mga questions na related to correction of errors. Let's read the given. Okay, problem 1. You have engaged to review the records and prepare corrected financial statements of Pinnacle Corporation. The December 31, 2025 statement of financial position is shown below. So, bibigyan tayo ng balance sheet. So, meron tayong assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity. Yan. Tignan mo, class. Meron dyan retained earnings na 81,000. Nakita mo yan? So, encircle mo na yan agad. Retained earnings na 81,000. Siyempre, pag binigyan ka ng financial statements, in this case, balance sheet, ang assume mo doon, unadjusted yan. Tama? Hindi pa natin o-audit yan. So, 81,000, yan yung unadjusted retained earnings. I-adjust natin later yan. Okay, a review of the books of the company indicates that the following errors and omissions had not been corrected during the years shown below. May mga errors na pinakita sa atin. Inventory under overstatement, omissions on prepaid expense, deferred income, accrued expense, accrued income. Alright? So basically, parang may 5 errors tayo. Okay, the adjusted net income per books are 2022, 10,000, 2023, 22,500, 2024, 19,500, 2025, 16,500. No dividends were declared during these years and no adjustments were made to retained earnings. Sir, paano mo sasagutan yan? Well, follow mo lang yung techniques natin. Okay? First, adjust natin yung net income. From unadjusted, gagawin nating adjusted net income. Gagawin ko dyan, class. So, tayo sa problem 1. Ang una mo gagawin dyan, ilagay mo muna yung unadjusted net income. Okay? So, usually binibigay sa problem yan. Tingin ka dun sa last paragraph. Sabi dyan, adjusted net income for 2022, okay, 2023, 2024, and 2025. So, in the board exam, usually either 3 or 4 years yung binibigay sa atin. In this case, 4 years. So, lagay ko dito, class, unadjusted. Alright? So, given lang to. Kopihin ko lang ha. 10,000 for 2022. 2023 is 22,500. 2024 is 19.5. 2025 is 16.5. Okay, so kinapi ko lang. Nasa given lang siya. Alright, now, i-correct na natin yan. Gagawin natin adjusted net income. Okay, first error. Inventory under or overstatement. In 2022, meron kang 18,000. Nakita mo yun? 18,000 na understatement. Okay. So, lagay ko dito inventory. Class, naalala niyo ba yung discussion natin sa audit of inventory? Yung ending inventory, which is, yun yan. Basta may inventory na given, assume ending inventory yan. Ending inventory is directly related to net income. Do you still remember? Okay. Now, understated. Okay, so kung understated yan, understated yung net income. Right? So, kailangan, pag kinorek mo, mag-add tayo ng 18,000. Tama? To adjust the net income. So, ang gagawin natin dyan, class, plus 18,000 in 2022. And then, take note, counterbalancing error yan. Kasi related to inventories. Okay? Pag counterbalancing error, meron kang mirror effect. Sir, ano ibig sabihin ng mirror effect? Meron kang, imi-mirror mo yan sa next year. Okay? So, ganito yung class. Tama ba nangyari dito? Nag-plus 18,000 ka sa 2022 para makorek yung 2022. Take note na kung understated yung ending inventory ng 2022, beginning inventory yan next year. Tama ba yan? So, understated yung beginning inventory next year. So, ganito. Pakita ko ha. Sa 2025 and 2026. Pakita ko lang, pero later, dapat mabilis na tayo mag-analyze. Tama ba sa 2025, understated yung ending inventory, therefore, understated yung net income by 18,000. Kaya nag-plus tayo. Alright? Now, yung ending inventory niya, beginning inventory next year yan. Alright? So, it means, understated yung beginning inventory mo. Understated yung cost of goods sold. Therefore, overstated yung net income. So, isang understated na net income, isang overstated. Therefore, pag nag-plus 18 ka dito, dapat i-mirror mo yan for next year. Kasi affected din yung beginning inventory, therefore affected yung net income. Magma-minus 18,000 ganyan. Okay? Ulitin ko class. Ito, important to. Pag counterbalancing, dalawa lagi adjustments mo. Current year and next year. Ang tawag natin doon, mirror effect. Okay, sir, paano kayo malalaman kung kailan kayo maging mirror effect? Pag yung error related sa apat na yan. Okay? Accruals, deferrals, prepayments, inventories, laging 2 years yung adjustment mo. Okay? And laging opposite sign yan. Pag plus, minus next year. Gets? Okay. Let's go to 2023. Okay, so in this case, overstated naman yung 2023. So overstated yung net income, mag-minus tayo ngayon. Minus 21,000, mirror natin to next year, plus 21,000 because dapat laging opposite signs. Siyempre, dapat class ito, hindi mo na, well, sa discussion natin yun, in-analyze natin yung effect ng 2 years. Pero in the board exam, dapat mabilis ka mag-isip. Hindi pwedeng puro a-analyze mo palagi na ganyan. Basta, tanda mo lang, pag related dito sa apat na yan, 2 years lagi yung adjustment natin. Okay? 2024. Okay, overstated by 24,000. So, minus 24 ako dyan. Plus 24,000 ako sa 2025. Okay? 2025, understated by 27,000. So, understated. So, mag-plus 27,000 tayo. Now, hindi ko na yan i-mirror sa 2026 kasi hindi naman tinatanong yung 2026. Pero pag tinanong, i-mirror mo siya. Gets? Okay. Next, let's go to prepaid expense. Prepaid expense na 27, hindi niya na-record, omission, tama? Now, ano ba yung prepaid expense na asset? Okay, so, ang ginawa ni client, in-expense niya lahat. Pero dapat may asset, dapat may prepaid, okay? So, therefore, since in-expense siya lahat, kailangan mag-plus 27 tayo. Plus 27. And yung prepayment, 27. Yung prepayment is an example of counterbalancing. Therefore, 2 years dapat yan. Mirror natin. Plus 27. Sabi ni sir, dapat opposite sign. Minus 27. Let's go to 2023. 2-1 naman, no? So, plus 2-1. Minus 2-1. 2024. Plus 1-5. Minus 1-5. 2025 plus 1,800. Gets? Okay. Let's go to deferred income. Ano naman yung deferred income? Unearned income. Okay? So, ang ginawa ni client, lahat ni-recognize niya as income. Pero dapat merong deferred. Okay? So, in this case, so 1,200 for 2023, lahat ni-recognize as income, dapat hindi. So, mag-minus 1 to tayo for 2023. Minus 1 to, and then plus 1 to, mi-mirror natin. Next nating class is 2025, 900. Gagawin natin minus 900. And kung may 2026, magpa-plus 900 ka doon. Letter C, accrued expense. Yun, parang example natin kanina, yung salaries expense. So, si client, hindi siya nakapag-record ng expense. Okay, ng debit salaries expense, credit salaries payable. So, ibig sabihin, for 2022, mag-minus 600 tayo. Mirror natin sa next year, plus 600. 2023, minus 225, plus 225. 2024, minus 300, plus 300. 2025 minus 150. Okay? Last, accrued income. Hindi nakapag-record ng accrued income si client. Ano example ng accrued income? Debit interest receivable, credit interest income. Okay? Hindi siya nakapag-record ng income. Therefore, for accrued income, 2023, hindi siya nakapag-record ng income na 375. Mag-plus tayo. Income yan. Tama? Plus 375. Mirror natin next year, minus 375. And then sa 2025, plus 450 tayo. Kung tanong yung 2026, magma-minus 450 tayo dun. Alright. So after that, after these adjustments, we can now compute the adjusted net income. Okay, start muna tayo with 2022. 10,000 plus 18,000 plus 27 minus 600. That is 30,100. Okay, 30,100 for 2022. Okay, and then let's go to 2023. 22,500 minus 18,000 minus 21,000 minus 27 plus 21 minus 12 plus 600 minus 225 plus 375. You should get 17,550. This is negative. Ibig sabihin net loss. 17,550. Let's go to 2024. 19,500 plus 21,000 minus 24,000 minus 21 plus 15 plus 12 plus 225 minus 300 minus 375. You should get 16,650. Okay? That's positive income. And then 2025, 16,500 plus 24,000 plus 27,000 minus 15 plus 18 minus 900 plus 300 minus 150 plus 450, you should get 67,500. Okay, 67,500. Alright, so ganun na ginawa natin. We can now answer yung first 4 questions. Number 1, what is the adjusted net income in 2022? Answer mo dyan, class, is dog, 30,100. Question number 2, adjusted net income in 2023, yung sagot mo dyan is actually net loss, 17,550 net loss. Question number 3, adjusted net income in 2024, sagot mo dyan, class, 16,650, which is letter A. Okay. Number 4, what is the adjusted net income for the year ended December 31, 2025? That is 67,500, letter boy. Okay, that's for question number 4. Now, let's go to number 5. What is the adjusted retained earnings on December 31, 2025? Kado gagawin ko dyan, class. Sabi ko kanina, pag retained earnings, simula ka sa unadjusted, gagawin nating adjusted. Okay, how much is our unadjusted retained earnings? Tumingin ka lang doon sa balance sheet. So kanina, nakita natin yung 81,000. Nakita mo yun? That's unadjusted. Right? Now, ano ba yung makaka-affect sa retained earnings? Net income and dividends. Pag tumingin ka sa last sentence, no dividends were declared. So pwede mo nang i-disregard yung dividends since hindi naman na-declare ng dividends. Now, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. I-add natin yung unadjusted net income. Add natin yung 4 na yan. Okay, so compute with me. 10,000 plus 22,500 plus 19,500 plus 16,500. Nakuha nyo ba yung 68,500? Okay, in total yan, 68,500. Alright? And then, yung adjusted net income natin, i-plus din natin yan. Okay, 30,100 minus 17,550 plus 16,650 plus 67,500. Nakuha nyo ba yung 96,700? Okay, 96,700. Now, yung 68,500, iyon yung naka-reflect dito. Does that make sense? Tama? Yung unadjusted net income, iyon yung naka-reflect sa retained earnings natin. Right? 68,500, pero ang dapat, 96,700. Ano yung difference nila? 96,700 minus 68,500, dapat mag-increase by 28,200. Tama? Increase natin yung net income. Now, ang gagawin ko dyan, plus ko lang to. Plus 28,200. Yung adjusted retained earnings natin should be from 81,000 plus 28,200, you get 109,200. Answer natin, 109,200. That is letter C. Okay? So, nakuha nyo ba yung class? Sa 81,000 kasi ang naka-reflect dyan, syempre, yung unadjusted net income. Right? Ito. 68.5. Nandito yan. Sa 81. We know, mali yun. Okay? Kulang tayo na, dapat 96.7. So, kulang tayo ng 28,200. So, we add 28.2 to 81,000. We get adjusted retained earnings, 109,200. Okay. Let's go to number 6. What is the adjusted total assets? Okay, assets daw. So, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Start ako with unadjusted assets. Okay, how much? Tingin ka lang doon sa balance sheet natin. Nakalagay dyan, class. Total assets, 129,000. Okay, 129,000. Yan, sa adjustments natin, class, ano ba yung mga assets dyan? Actually, tatlo yung assets dito. Yung inventory, yung prepaid expense, and accrued income. Tama lang? Okay. Sa inventory, tignan natin. So, paano gagawin natin dyan, class? Sa inventory, ano lang yung i-consider mo dun sa adjustments 2022 to 2025? Take note, yung binigay sa ating balance sheet is as of December 31, 2025. And also, again, pag counterbalancing errors, nag-auto-correct na yan after 2 years. Okay, so ganito yan. Yung 2022, nag-correct na yan sa 2023. 2023, nag-correct na sa 2024. 2024, nag-correct na sa 2025. Therefore, ang i-consider mo na lang sa assets, yung errors in 2025. Bakit, sir? Kasi next year pa yan magko-correct. Okay? Ang timeline natin, 2025 pa lang tayo. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, class, dun sa inventory, okay, tingin ka lang dun sa 2025. Nakita mo yung 27,000. Okay? Understated na 27,000. Mag-plus tayo. Plus 27,000. Ano pa? Yung prepaid expense. Yung prepaid expense is an asset account. Tama? Sa 2025, 1,800. So, mag-plus 1,800 tayo dyan. And then, ano pa? Yung accrued income. Tama kasi, ang accrued income, debit, let's say, at interest receivable, credit interest income. Yung interest receivable is an asset. Okay? Ngayon, 450 sa 2025. Mag-plus 450 ka dyan. Okay? So, 129,000 plus 27,000 plus 1,800 plus 450. You should get 158,250. Adjusted assets, 158,250. That is letter boy. Okay, so ulitin ko lang. Important concept to. 2025 lang yung kinonsider mo because nag-self-correcting yung previous years mo. Yung 2022, 23, and 24, nag-correct na yan as of December 31, 2025. Yung 2025, next year pa yan magko-correct, 2026. Kaya kailangan mag-adjust ka ngayon. Gets? Okay, last one. Liabilities naman. Unadjusted liabilities. Okay, so if you look at the balance sheet, may dalawang liabilities dyan. Nakita mo yung accounts payable, 6,000, and notes payable na 12,000. 6 plus 12, 18,000. Ano ba yung mga liabilities natin? Well, dalawa. You have your deferred income and accrued expense. Tama? Deferred income kasi unearned income is a liability account. Accrued expense, yung salaries payable is a liability account. Okay? So, tingin ulit tayo dun sa 2025. Dun muna tayo sa deferred income. Deferred income sa 2025 is 900, so plus 900. And then accrued expense, 150, plus 150 tayo. Alright, so 18,000 plus 900 plus 150, you should get 19,050. This is your adjusted liabilities. That is letter B or boy. Okay, so ayan. That's for problem number 1. As you noticed, for problem number 1, puro counterbalancing errors lang yan. Okay? Hindi ko pa sinamahan ng counterbalancing. For problem number 2, mas comprehensive kasi meron ng kasamang non-counterbalancing errors. Okay, so sige. Let's go to problem number 2. Erase ko na, class, ha? So make sure na copy yung solution natin. Erase ko na. And then, sige. So let's read yung question number 2. Tingnan mo natin yung, well, usually ang tanong na naman dyan, retained earnings and net income. Okay? So basahin natin yung given. You are engaged for the first time. Audit of the financial statements of ABC for the period ended December 31, 2025. The company both incorporated and commenced operations in 2023. So take note, nag-start yung company 2023. Okay? And in reviewing the books, you discovered that certain adjustments had either been overlooked or improperly recorded at the years to 2025. The following yearly information is summarized below. Okay, so meron tayong 3 years, 2023, 24, and 2025. And then binigyan tayo ng listahan ng mga errors. Siyempre, ko-correct natin yan. And then, if you look at the last sentence, nakalagay, the unadjusted net income for 2023, 24, and 25 are 445,000, 486, and 410,000. Siyempre, mag-start tayo doon. So, lalagay ko dito, 3 years lang tayo. 2023, 2024, and 2025. Okay, so lagay natin, unadjusted net income. So, same lang. From unadjusted, gagawin natin adjusted net income. Okay, so ikakopy ko lang class, nandun sa last sentence, 445,000, 486,000, and 410,000. Okay, so let's go to yung first error natin. So, i-analyze natin. Omissions of the following year-end, accruals and deferrals. Uy, accruals and deferrals. Sabi ni sir, pag related sa apat na yan, sigurado, counterbalancing. Therefore, meron tayong mirror effect. Okay? So, dumo tayo sa accrued utilities expense, 10,000. So, dapat mabilis ka mag-adjust. Okay? So, wag mo lang i-analyze isa-isa pa na per year. Alam natin, pag ganyan, may mirror effect tayo. So, minus 10,000, plus 10,000, minus 14,000, plus 14,000, and minus 12,000. O, ganun lang kabilis. Easy. Next, accrued utilities income, accrued interest income, 4,000. So, income yan. So, mag-plus 4,000 tayo. Plus 4,000, minus 4,000, plus 8,000, minus 8,000, and then plus 6,000. Okay, so that's for your accrued interest income. Prepaid rent expense. Okay, so gagawin natin dyan. 2024, meron tayong plus 4,000 kasi asset yan eh. Minus 4,000 and then plus 2,000. Basta prepaid asset yon, tama? So ayan, next natin is unearned royalty income. Okay, unearned, so liability. Ibig sabihin, tatanggalin natin yung 16, minus 16,000. Mirror natin, plus 16. And then next is 2025, minus 6,000. Alright, so that's it. That's your adjustment for the first set of errors. Okay, next, let's go to number 2. Okay, so analyze ating class. Receipt of merchandise at year-end from suppliers. Recorded as purchases upon payment the following year. Okay, inventories were included in physical count at the year when these were received. Okay, analyze ating class ha. Yung first part mo na, receipt of merchandise at year-end from suppliers. Okay, so yung 12,000, na-receive yan noong 2024. Okay? Yung 6,000, na-receive yan noong 2025. Ganon. Now, recorded as purchases upon payment the following year. O mali yun. Okay? Kasi na-receive mo this year, dapat this year mo i-record yung purchases. So, mali yung ginawa niya kasi na-receive this year, next year niya na-record yung purchases upon payment. So, mali yun. Tama? Inventories were included in physical count at the year when these were received. Inventories were included, so in-include niya na na-receive niya. O, tama lang. Okay? So, yung last part, tama yung ginawa niya. Ang mali sa ginawa niya, ni-record niya as purchased the following year. Yun yung mali. Okay? So, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Sa second error na yan, uy, related sa inventory. Ibig sabihin, may mirror effect dapat. So, yung 12,000, na-receive niya noong 2024. Pero ni-record niya as purchases the following year, 2025. Mali yun. Dapat 2024 pa lang, ni-record na niya as purchases. So, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. 2024, i-record natin as purchases, so minus yun. Tama? Minus tayong 12,000. Mirror natin to next year, plus 12,000. Okay, next. 6,000. Na-receive noong 2025, pero ni-record as purchases noong 2026. Mali yun. Magma-minus 6,000 tayo dyan. Nakuha niyan? Okay, so ayan. Mirror effect din kasi related sa inventory. Next error. Error number 3. Cash received from customers at year-end. Recorded as sales but deliveries were made the following year. Corresponding inventories at cost were included in the physical count. Okay, so analyze nga natin, class. Cash received from customers at year-end. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong na-receive na 6,000 noong 2023 and 10,000 noong 2025. Na-receive natin sa customer yon, tama? Recorded as sales but deliveries were made the following year. O, mali yun. Kasi dapat, i-record mo siya as sales nung na-deliver mo na siya, which is next year. Okay? Mali yung ginawa niya kasi nag-record siya agad noong 2023. Dapat 2024 kasi 2024 nangyari yung shipment. Okay? Corresponding inventories at cost were included. So, in-include in the physical count in the year of collection. So, in-include pa rin niya noong 2023 and 2025. Tama lang yung ginawa niya na in-include niya kasi next year pa yun considered as sale. Okay? So, in summary, ang mali niya dito, dapat yung 6,000 ni-record niya as sales noong 2024. Yung 10,000 ni-record niya as sales noong 2026. Okay? Dapat ganun. Kasi year after yung naging delivery. Pero tama na in-include niya sa inventory kasi hindi pa sale. Okay? So, gagawin ko sa number 3, mali yung ginawa niya sa 2023, mag-minus 6,000 tayo. Since inventory yan, mag-mirror effect tayo, plus 6,000. Okay? 10,000, mag-minus 10,000 tayo. Huwag na tayo gumawa sa 2026 kasi hindi naman tinatanong yung 2026. Okay, so minus 10,000. Alright? So that's for error number 3. Next. Error number 4. Overstatement in ending inventories. Alam niyo na yan. Ending inventory related sa net income. Directly related. So kung overstated na 18,000, minus 18 tayo. Mirror natin. Plus 18,000. 14,000 naman sa 2025. So minus 14,000 for 2025. Let's go to number 5. Understatement in ending inventories. Di kung understated siya, add back tayo ng 8,000. Plus 8,000 minus 8,000. Mirror din siya. Okay? So as you notice, class, yung first 5 errors natin, lahat yan counterbalancing errors. Okay? Related yan dito sa 4. No? Kaya anong nangyari? Lahat merong mirror effect. Okay? Pero yung succeeding errors, non-counterbalancing na yan. Sir, paano ginagawa pag non-counterbalancing? Well, kailangan natin i-analyze kung ano talaga yung nangyari para makita natin yung effect per year. Okay? Number 6. Analyze natin, class. Organization costs incurred in the start of the business at the beginning of 2023. Capitalized as an intangible asset and amortized over 5 years. Parang kanina, parang incorrect classification. Kasi dapat in-expense yan. Yung organization cost, dapat expense yan. Hindi pwedeng gawing asset yan. Pero ang ginawa ng client, kinapitalize niya sa asset and inamortize niya over 5 years. Okay. So, ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Yung 100,000 na yan, in 2023, dapat ni-recognize yan as expense. So, mag-minus 100,000 tayo in 2023. Minus 100,000. And dapat hindi nag-amortize. Right? 100,000 divided by 5, nag-amortize siya ng 20,000 per year. Nag-debit amortization expense siya. Mali yun. So, i-reverse natin yung ginawa ni client. Since nag-amortize siya, tanggalin natin yung effect na yun. So, mag-plus 20,000 tayo. Yes, 20,000. Plus 20,000. Okay? So, as you notice, walang mirror effect dito kasi non-counterbalancing error yan. So, ang ginawa ko, class, yung 100,000, ang should be, dapat in-expense yan. Kaya nag-minus agad ako 100 dyan. Ngayon, i-reverse natin yung ginawa ni client. Nag-amortize siya, dapat hindi. Nag-minus 20,000 siya per year, dapat hindi. So, nag-plus tayo. Gets? Okay. Number 7. Malapit na, class. Major repairs eligible for capitalization on the company's equipment recognized as outright expense. Okay. So, eligible for capitalization. Siguro major repairs to, no? Major repairs. Oh, yeah, major repairs na kalagay nga. So, pwede siya i-capitalize as equipment. Pero ang ginawa ni client, ni-recognize as outright expense. Okay. Dapat i-capitalize pero in-expense si client. Depreciation on equipment is at 20% per annum except for the year of expenditure, which is 10%. Okay, so ganito yung policy niya. Yung year, kung kailan mo binili yung equipment or na-spend yung repairs, 10% yung depreciation. Moving forward, 20%. Ganito gagawin ko dyan, class. Okay, so nagkaroon ng major repairs noong 2024. pero in-expense ni client yan. Dapat hindi. So, gagawin ko dyan, i-add back ko yung 70,000. Add back 70,000, and then, i-depreciate ko yan. Hindi nag-depreciate si client. Tama? Paano yung depreciation policy? 10% daw ng year of acquisition or year of expenditure. So, ibig sabihin, 2024, 10% ng 70,000 is 7,000. Minus yan sa depreciation. Pero, moving forward, 20% na. 70,000 times 20% is 140,000. So, meron tayong minus, 14,000 lang pala. Minus 14,000. Okay? So, 70,000 times 20% is 14,000. Ulitin ko. Ang policy daw niya, 10% ng year of expenditure, 20% thereafter. Okay? So, that's for 70,000. Doon naman tayo sa 80,000. 80,000, ganoon din. In-expense ni client, dapat hindi. So, add back natin. Plus 80,000. And then, year of expenditure, 10%. 80,000 times 10% is 8,000 minus 8,000. Moving forward, 2026 onwards, 20% na yan. Okay, so yan. So, that's how you do error 7. Error number 8. Cash dividends paid at the beginning of the year but declared in the previous year ends. Dividends declared in 2025 but paid in 2026 amounted to 300. So, ano nangyari dyan, class? Okay, cash dividends paid. Okay, ito yung binayaran. Nagbayad ng 220,000 noong 2024 and nagbayad ng 260,000 noong 2025. Nakalagay, paid at beginning of the year but declared in the previous year. O, mali yun. Dapat ni-record mo yung dividends nung dineclare siya. Tama? It means yung 220,000 dapat ni-record siya nung 2023. While yung 260,000 dapat ni-record siya nung 2024. Okay? Pero take note, ang pinag-uusapan natin is net income. We know yung dividends, wala namang effect sa net income yan. Babalikan natin later yan. Okay? So yan, lahat ng adjustments natin. Let's compute for the adjusted net income. Okay? Compute natin. Adjusted. Dumawa tayo sa 2023. 445,000 minus 10,000 plus 4,000 minus 16,000 minus 6,000 minus 18,000 minus 100,000 plus 20,000, you should get 319,000. Adjusted net income for 2023 is 319,000. 2024, 486,000 plus 10,000 minus 14,000 minus 4,000 plus 8,000 plus 4,000 plus 16,000 minus 12,000 plus 6,000 plus 18,000 plus 8,000 plus 20,000 plus 70,000 minus 7,000. You should get 609,000. 609,000. And last year, 2025, 410,000. And then plus natin yung 14,000 minus 12,000 minus 8,000 plus 6,000 minus 4,000 plus 2,000 minus 6,000 plus 12,000 minus 6,000 minus 10,000 minus 14 minus 8,000 plus 20,000 minus 14,000 plus 80,000 minus 8,000. Nakuha ko dyan. Up. Yes, minus 8,000. 454,000. Yun. 454,000. Sige, tingnan natin, class, yung mga questions. Question number 8. 8 natin, ending balance of retained earnings for 2025. Okay, so dun muna tayo sa question 9 para makompute natin yung income. Number 9, how much is the audited net income 2023? Sagot natin, 319,000. So for question 9, boy yung sagot natin, 319,000. Question 10, how much is the audited net income in 2024? 609,000. That is letter dog. Okay, question number 11, how much the audited net income in 2025? 454,000. That is letter A, 454,000. Okay, balik tayo sa question 8. Sabi dyan, the ending balance of retained earnings. Sir, paano gagawin mo dyan? Well, ang gagawin ko dyan, sabi, before any corrections. So, tinatanong sa atin, unadjusted retained earnings. Okay, so, ang pwede natin gawin dito, unadjusted retained earnings, well, ano ba yung nakaka-affect ng retained earnings? Net income and dividends. Okay? Take note, class, na 2023 nag-start yung company. Tama? Nakalagay dun sa second sentence. The company both incorporated and commenced its operations in 2023. Ibig sabihin, noong 2023 lang siya nagkaroon ng balance sa retained earnings. Ano yung pumasok doon? Obviously, ayan, yung unadjusted net income. So, ang tanong sa ating class, ending balance of retained earnings for 2025 before any corrections. Unadjusted. So, lagay ko dyan, 445. Net income, nag-i-increase ng retained earnings yan. 486. And then, 410. Okay. And then, take note class na dun sa last na error number 8, yan yung dividends. Okay. So, 220,000. And then, meron tayong 260,000. Take note, unadjusted to So, hindi pa correct yung ginagawa natin. So, sagot natin dyan class, 445,000 plus 486,000 plus 410 minus 220 minus 260. Sagot natin dyan class is 861,000. Unadjusted retained earnings, sagot mo sa question number 8 is letter C, 861,000. Ginawa lang natin, yung nirecord niyang income, nilagay natin dito. Ito yung nirecord niyang dividends. Yun lang. So, nakuha natin 861,000. Let's go to question number 12. How much is the audited retained earnings? Audited na yung hinahanap ngayon. Ganito naman gagawin ko dyan, class. Ito, unaudited, di ba? Doon naman tayo sa audited. Ano yung tama talaga na retained earnings? Computing natin. For 2023, 24, and 25. Since yun yung next 3 questions. Okay. Lalagay ko dyan sa 2023. Ito yung net income na i-reflect ko dyan. 319,000. 319,000. Okay? And then, how much dapat, yung dividends naman, tama ba ang analysis natin sa error number 8, yung 220,000 na yan, dineclare yan last year. Tama? Noong 2023. So, dapat, 2023 mo siya chinarge to retained earnings sa 220,000. Ang tanong sa atin, retained earnings in 2023, 319,000 minus 220,000. Sagot mo dyan, class, 99,000. This is December 31, 2023. Letter A, 99,000 yung sagot natin. Okay, letter A for question number 12. Question number 13, how much is the audited retained earnings to be reported for 2024? Di, i-reflect naman natin yung net income na adjusted, 609,000. And then, yung dividends na binayaran noong 2025, dineclare yan noong 2025, na 260,000, dineclare yan year before. Therefore, yung 260,000, i-minus mo yan sa 2024. Okay? So, 99,000 plus 609,000 minus 260,000, you should get 448,000. Letter D or dog, 448,000. This is for 2024. Last one, 2025. Okay, 2025, audited income natin is 454,000. And then, nakalagay dun sa error number 8, dividends declared in 2025 but paid in 2026 amounted to 300,000. So, dapat, nung year of declaration, dun mo siya dinebit to retained earnings. 300,000. Let's compute 448,000 plus 454,000 minus 300,000. You should get 602,000. Sagot natin, class, for question number 14, audited retained earnings 2025, 602,000. This is for 2025. Letter boy, okay, for question number 14. Alright, so let's have a quick break. Class, let's go to problem number 3. Okay, so let's read. Problem number 3. Mr. Accounting Company engaged you in 2025 to examine its books and records and to make whatever adjustments are necessary. Your examination disclosed the following. Prior to any adjustments, the retained earnings account is reproduced below. So basically, binigyan tayo ng movement ng retained earnings. So i-check natin kung tama yung ginawa ni client. Okay? Obviously, may mga mali dyan. Okay? So yeah, so meron tayong beginning balance. Nakita mo ba yung 580,000? That's for 2023. That's your beginning balance. Net income for the year, 310,000. So, in-add niya, tama, credit niya. So, tama yung ginawa niyang treatment for net income. Let's go to 2024. Dividends paid, 140. Dinebit niya. That's also correct. Next, paid in capital in excess of par. Yun ang mali. Kasi APIC yan eh. Di ba? Yung APIC, chinarge niya sa, or in-add niya sa retained earnings. So, mali yan. August 30, gain on retirement of ordinary shares at less than issue price. Oh, mali din yan. Dapat i-charge mo din sa APIC yan kapag nag-retire ka ng ordinary shares, hindi sa retained earnings. December 31, net loss, 205,000. Okay, that's correct, debit. 2025, dividends paid, 100,000. So, binawas niya sa retained earnings, that's correct. Net loss for the year, 165,500. Binawas niya din. Yun. So, may mga tama, may mga mali din siyang ginawa. Okay? And then, if you look at the questions na tanungin sa ating class, net income and retained earnings for each year. Okay. So, as usual, ganun yung tinatanong sa correction of errors. So, ganito gagawin natin. Start tayo with an adjusted net income. Gawin natin adjusted net income. So, we're given ilang years? 4 years. 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. Okay. So, lagay natin yung unadjusted balances. Okay, balik tayo dun sa movement ng retained earnings. Nakita mo yung second item, net income for the year, 310,000. That's for 2023. And then, sa baba, 2024, meron net loss tayo na 205,000. So, minus 205. And then, for 2025, yung last item dyan, 165,500 net loss. So, wala tayong binigay sa 2022. Okay, so, ayan. The company failed to properly recognize accruals and prepayments. Selected accounts reveal the following information. Easy lang yan, mga counterbalancing errors. Okay, correct na natin yan. Prepaid expenses. So, dapat mabilis ka sa pag-a-adjust ha. 8,500, so plus 8,500 minus 8,500. Okay, plus 6,200 minus 6,200 plus 7,400 minus 7,400 plus 9,500. Okay, easy. Next, adjustment number 2, accrued expenses. So, minus 5,400 plus 5,400 minus 7,300 plus 7,300 minus 8,700 plus 8,700 and then minus 9,000. Okay. Next, adjustment number 3, unearned income. Okay, so gawin natin minus 6,900 plus 6,900 minus 7,800 plus 7,800 minus 8,900 plus 8,900 and then minus 9,600. Okay. Next adjustment, number 4, accrued income. So income yan, mag-plus tayo. Plus 4,700 minus 4,700 plus 5,600 minus 5,600 plus 6,200 minus 6,200 and then plus 7,800. Okay. O, ayan. Master nyo na yan. Yung first 4 adjustments natin, counterbalancing errors, mirror effect. Okay? Next, letter C, dividends had been declared on December 31 in 2023 and 2024 but had not been entered in the books until paid. No, mali yun. Dapat kung kailan mo dineclare, dun ka nag-debit to retained earnings. Dito, ginawa niya kung kailan nagbayad. Okay? Pero take note, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, income. Dividends yan eh. So, retained earnings sa effect yan. Mamaya na, babalikan natin yan kapag nag-compute na tayo ng retained earnings. Okay, let's go to letter D. The company purchased a machine worth 270,000 on April 30, 2022. The company charged the purchase to expense. The machine has an estimated life of 3 years. The company uses the straight line method and residual values are deemed immaterial. Take note, class, sa lahat ng problems so far na sinagutan natin, hindi ako nag-journal entry. Okay? Hindi ako nag-journal entry kasi medyo sayang sa time. Okay? Pero if, for example, medyo nahihirapan ka mag-analyze ng error, pwede ka mag-journal entry. Mapakita ko sa inyo. Okay? For example, this one, sa letter D. Ang gagawin ko dyan, class, kunyari medyo complicated yung nangyaring transaction. Gagawin ko lang, actual versus should be. Okay? Actual versus should be. Ano yung actual? Anong ginawa ni client? Debit expense, credit cash. Kasi bumili ng machine, chinarge niya sa expense, 270,000. O, mali, yun. Okay? Ano yung should be? Lagay tayo ng year, ha? So, this is April 30, 2022. Okay? Ano yung dapat? Debit machine, credit cash, okay, 270,000. And then sa December 31, 2022, 2023, and 2024, and 2025, dapat mag-record ng depreciation. Obviously, hindi nag-record ng depreciation si client because in-expense siya, hindi naman niya kinapitalize. Okay? So, computing nga natin class yung depreciation for 2022. Take note na binili yung machinery April 30. So, May to December, 8 months lang yan. 270,000, divide natin by 3 years. Divide by 3 times 8 over 12. Na-compute nyo ba yung 60,000? Okay. So, debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation, 60,000 for 2022. Compute natin yung 2023, 2024, and 2025. So, 2023 and 2024, whole year na yan. Tama? 270 divided by 3, 90,000 yan. Debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation, 90,000. So, 2024, whole year din yan. Okay? Debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation, 90,000. Sa 2025 naman, take note na 3 years lang yung useful life ng equipment. And sa 2025, meron ka na lang 4 months, January to April 30. Okay? So, gagawin ko dyan, 270,000 divided by 3 times 4 over 12, 30,000 na lang. Debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation, 30,000. Ayun. So, kaya pag in-add mo yung 60, 90, 90, and 30, equal yan sa 270. So, fully depreciated na siya sa 2025. So, ang ginawa ni client, ito. Ang dapat, ito. Gets ba yan? Okay. So, ang gagawin ko dyan, para makorek yan sa letter D, para ma-reflect natin yung tama, yung should be, tatanggalin ko muna yung ginawa ni client. In-expense siya, dapat hindi eh. So, add back ko yan. Plus 270,000. And then, magre-record ako ng depreciation. Take note, ang ko-consider ko lang yung may effect sa income. Ano yung mga effect? Yun, depreciation expense. Okay? Sa 2022, kailangan mag-minus 60,000 tayo. 2023, minus 90,000 sa income. 2024, minus 90,000. And 2025, minus 30,000. Okay? So, ganun ginawa ko. Now, pinakita ko lang yung entries sa inyo. Okay? Gagawin mo lang to class kapag medyo nalilito ka dun sa error para mas ma-visualize mo siya. But as much as possible, kung kaya mo, huwag ka na mag-entry kasi sayang yung time. Kung kaya mo diretso adjustments, much better. Pero pag nalilito ka, para sigurado ka sa sagot, yun, mag-entry ka. Alright? Sige. Let's go to letter E. The company received a transportation equipment as donation from its shareholders. The equipment was used to deliver goods to customers. The equipment has a fair value of 240,000 and has a remaining life of 3 years on the date of donation. 30,000 was incurred for registering the transfer of ownership. The company did not record the donation. The expense paid related to the equipment were charged to expense. Okay, so let's say medyo nalilito ka ulit. Journalize natin. Papakita ko lang ha. Dito na lang. Dito na lang. Ay, tuloy ko na dito. Letter E. Ano yung ginawa ni client? Actual, chinarge siya sa expense. Yung 30,000. Debit expense, credit cash. 30,000. Take note, sabi dyan, hindi daw niya ni-record yung donation mismo na 240,000. So, mali na yan. Okay, ano yung should be? Ano yung dapat ginawa ni client? Debit equipment, since nakalagay dyan, galing daw sa shareholder, yung donation, i-credit mo sa APIC. Donated capital, APIC. Debit equipment, credit APIC, 240,000. And then, yung may incur mo to register transfer of ownership, actually, dapat i-charge mo sa APIC yan. Okay? So, ang tama, debit APIC, credit cash na 30,000. Alright? And then, dapat mag-depreciate ka for 3 years. Alright? O, ma'am, huwag natin lagay yung depreciation. Compute na lang natin later. So, ang gagawin ko, class, in-expensing line yung 30,000, mali yun. Dapat sinarge na sa APIC. So, income yung pinag-uusapan natin, add back natin yung ginawa niya. Magpa-plus 30,000 ako dito. Kailan nangyari yan? 2024. September 30, 2024. So, dito tayo. Okay? Add back yung 30,000 na yan. And then, kailangan mag-depreciate tayo. Tama? So, how much na yung i-depreciate natin? Ito, 240,000. Yun yung fair value ng equipment. Take note na yung 30, hindi mo yan charge sa equipment. Sa APIC yan. Diba? Pag donation, sa APIC mo i-charge yan. So, 240,000, sabayan nyo ako mag-compute, 240,000, i-divide natin by 3 years, useful life. Ilang months yung outstanding sa 2024? Well, dinonate nung September 30, so October, November, December. 80,000 times 3 over 12, yung depreciation natin is 20,000. Okay? So minus 20,000. And then sa 2025, whole year na yan. 240,000 divided by 3, you get 80,000. So minus 80,000. Okay, nag-gets nyo ba class? So ginawa ko, medyo complicated yung transaction na. Nag-entry ako. Actual, should be. Okay, so mali na ginawa niyang na-in-expense niya. So in-add ba ko yan? Okay? And then, hindi siya nag-depreciate. O, dapat mag-depreciate tayo. Okay? So, sige. Let's go to letter F. The physical inventory of merchandise had been understated by 64 and 44.5 at the end of 2023 and 2025. For example, this one, huwag ka na mag-entry dyan kasi alam na, inventory lang yan. Okay, dumuha tayo sa 64,000. Understated daw noong 2023. So, kung under siya, understated din yung income. E di mag-plus tayo. Okay, so sa letter F, plus 64,000 sa 2023. Okay? Plus 64 minus 64 kasi may mirror effect yan. Okay? And then 2025, 44,500 plus 44,500. Okay? Next. Last item na. Letter G. Ano tayo sa ating class? The merchandise inventories at the end of 2024 and 2025 did not include merchandise that has been in transit FOB shipping point. These shipments of 43.4 and 32.6 were recorded as purchase in January 25 and 2026. Okay, so ganito klase nangyari dyan. Noong 2024 and 2025, merong in transit. Tama? Dapat nirecord natin yon as purchases. And then, dapat nirecord sinama natin siya sa inventory kasi FOB shipping point eh. Once na ship sa atin na dapat. Okay, doon muna tayo sa purchases. Sa inventory muna tayo. Sa inventory. Now, hindi in-include. Dapat i-include natin. So, mag-plus 43,400 tayo. Plus 43,400 minus 43,400. Tama? Mirror yan. And then, yung isa naman, 32,600. Dapat mag-plus 32,600 tayo. Okay? So, ayan. Iyan yung para sa inventory. Okay? So, lagay ko dito. Ito yung para sa ending inventory. O, doon naman tayo sa purchases. Kasi ang sabi dyan sa last sentence, these shipments of 43.4 and 32.6 were recorded as purchase in January 2025 and 2026. Mali. Dapat, nung previous year pa lang, nirecord na siya as purchase. Kasi, sa'yo na yun eh. Okay? So, mag-minus tayo sa 2024 ng 43.4, mirror natin kasi inventory related yan, plus 43.4. Okay? Para ma-record yung purchase. And then, mag-minus 32.6 tayo sa 2025. So, ito yung para sa purchases. Sir, bakit ganun? Plus 43.4 minus 43.4. Adi cancel out. Okay? 43.4, 43.4, cancel out. Plus 32.6 minus 32.6. Ibig sabihin, net effect ng lahat na yan, 0. Okay, pinakita ko lang kasi alam natin, if you recall, sa audit of inventory natin, pag nagkamali ka ng purchases and ending inventory sa same year, net effect nun is 0. Naalala niyo yan? Okay, dapat yung syempre yung knowledge sa audit of inventory carried over dito yan. Pinakita ko lang, pero alam natin class, 0 lang yung net effect niyan. Okay? Sige, so let's compute for adjusted income. Okay, so tingnan natin class. Well, para sa 2022, yung adjustments lang kasi wala ka namang unadjusted net income na given, no? So 8.5 minus 5.4 minus 6.9 plus 4.7 plus 270 minus 60 210,900. Okay? 210,900. So ito yung adjustment natin for 2022. Okay, sa 2023, 24 and 25, meron tayong beginning and then mako-compute natin yung adjusted net income talaga. Okay? 310,000 minus 8.5 plus 6.2 plus 5.4 minus 7.3 plus 6.9 minus 7.8 minus 4.7 plus 5.6 minus 90,000 and then plus 64, you should get 279,800. Okay? So 279,800. Ito yung adjusted net income natin for 2023. Let's go to 2024. Okay, so negative to 205,000. So mag-start ako with negative amount. And then minus 62 plus 74 plus 73 minus 87 plus 78 minus 89 minus 56 plus 62 minus 90,000 plus 30,000 and then minus 20,000. Okay, minus 64,000. O dito, di ko na i-consider yan kasi offset na yan eh. Okay? You get 349,700. Ako yan, negative amount. 349,700 net loss. Okay? Next natin, 2025. Okay, 165,500. Negative amount yan, net loss. Okay? So, simula ka with the negative amount. And then, minus 74 plus 95 plus 87 minus 9,000 plus 89. Okay? Minus 96 minus 62 plus 78 minus 30,000 and then minus 80,000 and then plus 44,500. Okay, 228,300. Yun. Minus 228,300. Ayan. So sige, tingnan natin class yung questions. Question number 15, net income or loss for 2023. O, sagot mo, 279,800. That is letter boy, 279,800. Net income or loss for 2024, 349,700. That is letter boy din, 349,700. Net loss. Net income or loss for 2025, net loss tayo, 228,300. Letter dog. Okay. Let's go to the retained earnings. Ayan, dito ko na sasagot ng class. Mag-T account tayo sa retained earnings, no? For the next 4 questions, retained earnings yan. Ito ko ang lalagay. So, maglagay tayo ng giant T account. Ayan. Retained earnings. Meron ba beginning balance? O meron. Yung beginning balance sa atin, nandun sa first part of the problem, nakita mo yung 580,000. Tama? 580. Now, take note class na for 2022, okay, ang given sa atin 2023, tama? 2023 yan eh. Ito, as of 2023. Alam natin na lahat ng adjustments sa previous period, isi-charge mo sa retained earnings yan. Okay? Meron tayong error na 210,900 sa 2022. Prior period error yan. Kailangan i-adjust mo yung net income mo ng plus 210,900. Since prior period na yan, i-adjust natin yan sa retained earnings. Does that make sense? Okay. So, kung gagawin ko lang, plus 210,900. Or magka-credit tayo dyan, 210,900. Okay? So, makukuha ko class yung 580,000 plus 210,900, you get 790,900. Ito yung adjusted retained earnings natin noong December 31, 2022 or January 1, 2023. Okay? So, sagot natin class sa number 18 is letter C, 790,900. This is December 31, 2022. Letter C, 790,900. Okay? Next item naman, retained earnings pa rin, 2023 naman. So, gagawin ko lang dyan, yung adjusted net income, lagay natin, 279,800. Take note na meron kang dineclare na dividends noong 2023. Okay? Kasi pag titingin ka dun, balikan natin yung error letter C. Dividends had been declared on 2023 and 2024, but had not been entered in the books until paid. So kung titingin ka dun sa first part of the problem, dun sa movement ng retained earnings, nakalagay dyan, dividends paid in 2024, 140,000. Nakita niyo ba yan? Dun sa movement ng retained earnings, 140,000. 2024 binayaran. Pero sabi, previous year daw dineclare. Okay? 2023 pinag-uusapan natin, therefore, mag-minus 140,000 ka dito. Okay? So, makukompute natin yung retained earnings. 790,900 plus 279,800 minus 140,000. You should get 930,700. This is your adjusted retained earnings, December 31, 2023. Answer mo dyan, letter C, 930,700. Let's do the same thing for 2024. Factor in natin yung loss naman. 349,700. Lagay mo dito yan. Loss yan eh. I-debit mo yan. And then, take note na meron din tayong dividend declaration for 2024. Okay? So, dividends paid noong 2025 is 100,000. Nandun sa second to the last item sa movement na retained earnings. Dividends paid, 100,000. Alam natin, previous year yan dineclare. So, dapat sa 2024 pa lang, minus mo na yung 100,000. 100,000. So, let's see. 930,700 minus 349,700 minus 100,000, you get 481,000. Adjusted retained earnings, December 31, 2024, 481,000. Letter dog. Last one natin, 2025, meron tayong loss na 228,300. 228,300. Debit mo yan kasi loss. And then, wala nang dividend declaration for 2025. So, huwag mo na i-consider yung dividends. 481,000 minus 228,300, you get 252,700. 252,700 retained earnings December 31, 2025. Answer mo dyan, class, is letter A, 252,700. Okay, so I think we're able to finish all the problems. And that's it for correction of errors.